Spoiler, there are no festive books on this TBR. Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Sarah and I love to talk about books, and it's the most wonderful time of the year. Yeah, Christmas, but what I really mean is finishing my reading challenges for 2020. I started 2020 with 63 books that I had to read for the 3-year-long reading challenges that I take part in every year. I'm now down to 5. So can I do it? Can I read them all in December? Here's hoping. So today is my December TBR. Spoiler, there are no festive books on this TBR. I have never managed to do seasonal reading, whether it's summer books on the beach or Christmas books in the run up to the festive season or spooky books at Halloween. I just never seem to get my stuff together enough to pick seasonal reads. And to be honest, particularly about Christmas books, I don't really know many. Of course, I've read A Christmas Carol, and I actually did manage to read that at Christmas, but I can't really think of any others. So if you have any recommendations for Christmas themed books that are not schmaltzy romance, fling them my way, because I would love to know and hopefully maybe fit them in next December. I probably wouldn't fit them in this December because I've got 5 books, as I said, on my TBR, and I'd also like to get in a few extra reads, some of my NetGalleys, and I also have a book from a friend, Disgrace by J.M. Coetzee. He lent this to me a couple of months ago and haven't got to it yet, so it would be nice to read this before the end of the year, and I actually can't remember what it's about. After years teaching romantic poetry at the Technical University of Cape Town, David Laurie, middle-aged and twice divorced, has an impulsive affair with a student. The affair sours, he's denounced and summoned before a committee of inquiry. Willing to admit his guilt, but refusing to yield to pressure to repent publicly, he resigns and retreats to his daughter Lucy's isolated small holding. So that sounds really interesting, and my friend whose book recommendations I pretty much always go with, although he really didn't like Sally Rooney and I loved her, but I definitely think I want to get to this in December just so I can give it back as well. I get really anxious when I borrow books from other people, so it would be nice to be able to hand this back to him. And his copy of The Secret History, which I've just realised is still sitting on my shelves after he lent it to, well, he didn't actually lend it to me, he lent it to my ex, and I was the one who read it, but yeah, it's been on the bookshelf for about 3 years and I still haven't given it back, so that would be nice if I can give them both back to him before the end of the year. But on to the 5 reads I have for my challenges, and the first is on my Kindle, and it's Eats, Shoots and Leaves by Lynn Truss. The subtitle of this book is A Zero Tolerance Approach to Punctuation. I literally don't actually know why I own this. I remember it being quite big when I worked at Waterstones, but at the time I wasn't interested in picking up a copy, so I can only assume that the Kindle Daily Deals got me at a vulnerable moment, and that's why I have got it on my Kindle. But own it I do, and it fits one of my reading challenge prompts, so I'm going to read it. So basically, Lynn Truss was an editor, and she was getting quite concerned about the state of punctuation. So this is a history of punctuation, but I don't think it's as dry as that sounds. I've heard people say that it is really funny. And he uses lots of examples from science to literature of what happens when punctuation goes wrong. And we all know what happens if you forget to use the proper noun capitalisation when you help your uncle jack off a horse. So I think there's a lot to be learned from this book. The next book is one that has been sat on my bookshelves for a very, very long time. It's Inexcusable by Lynch. And now, given how long this has sat on my shelves, I am not feeling particularly positive that I will be giving this a thumbs up for representation or content or language or any of these things, considering the subject matter and the time it was written. But I remain open to having a nice surprise. I'm not sure I will get it. So this is basically about Kier, who is a high school student and would describe himself as one of the good guys until he is accused of raping his, I think, girlfriend. I don't know if she is his girlfriend actually, but he's accused of raping a fellow student. And this is the story of him defending his character in the face of that accusation. So this could go one of two ways. I'm suspicious it's going to go the way that will not be okay with me. But it's a really short book. It's been sat on my shelves for ages, and it's got to the point where I either read it or chuck it. And because it fitted one of the prompts, I think it was something about having an upside down image on the cover, I'm going to give it a shot. And then I have another book that's been sat on my shelves for a long time. This is always a theme with me. This is primarily why I do my reading challenges, is to push myself to read the books that have been sat there gathering dust for a long time. And this is Snacks After Swimming. It's an anthology, and I'm pretty sure it was a title by, followed swiftly by a cover by. I think that's lovely, and it's all embossed. I just think it looks really cool, the swimming pool on the bottom. And why the title drew me in is one of me and my brother's favourite things to do when we were kids was to go swimming with my dad at the weekends, and almost as good as the swimming was the trip to the vending machine after we got changed. So I don't know, the title just spoke to me. But it has no ratings, no reviews on Goodreads. I don't know who, Freight, I'm not sure if I've heard of that publisher before. I don't know if that's an indication that it's bad or that it was just a small publisher. I don't know, but it says that this is a collection of the best new creative writing talent in Scotland, or it was at the time when it was published. I think this is like 2006. I'm hoping in this to find some new Scottish writers to have a deeper dive into. This is a collection of the graduates from the University of Glasgow postgraduate writing course, and that has launched the career of some writers that I've really enjoyed in the past, like Anne Donovan, Louise Welsh. In fact, does it list any others? It lists those two, and then some that I've never heard of. So I'm hoping that maybe in this there will be writing from someone who's then gone on to have a successful career. Let's have a wee look and see at the names in here. I don't recognise any of them, but that just makes it more exciting because then they're completely new writers to delve into. So I'm really looking forward to this. And then it will be back to my Kindle, because I plan to get this book out of the library, but the only one of the 3 libraries that I'm a member of that has it is the Glasgow libraries. Glasgow is currently in tier 4. I'm currently in tier 2. My area is tier 2 or level 2. Are we levels or tiers in Scotland? I'm very confused. I know we're 2, and so I can't travel to the library to pick the book up, so I found it on Kindle. It wasn't that expensive, and it's The End of Your Life book club by Will Schwalbe. And basically this is the story of Will and his mother Marianne, and Marianne was battling cancer, and to help them pass the time while she was going through chemotherapy treatment, they started their own little book club of 2, reading and discussing books, and it really brought them closer together. So this is the story of that, and also a discussion of the books that they chose. And I'm guessing from the title that Marianne loses her battle with cancer. So cheery read for Christmas, but actually, you know, well, it's a book about books, so I always love those, but I also think this sounds really poignant. And for me, Christmas, yes, it's a very happy time. I love celebrating with the kids and things, but there is also, for me, for many people, I think, a bit of a sadness around Christmas as well. Whether you have actually lost someone or whether it just gives you a time to reflect on certain things. And so I am okay with a weepy book at Christmas. And then continuing on my cheery festive theme, I'm going to be reading 5, or is it The 5? You'll know because I'm putting the cover on the screen, but this is by Hallie Rubenhold, and these are the stories of the 5 women killed by Jack the Ripper. Jack the Ripper is such a phenomenon. I grew up in the south of England, and I remember going to like the London dungeons, and there was a huge exhibit about Jack the Ripper, and it was the first time I had ever heard of him, and it's just something that is constantly in our culture. I don't know if that's just a UK thing or if it's more widely over the world, but there's so much focus on Jack the Ripper. Who was he? What he did? All of those sorts of things. And in that, you don't really get to know a lot about the women. All I know are their names. I've seen their kind of horrible death mask photos and have always had the assumption that they were prostitutes. And it turns out that actually that fact of the only 3 facts that we tend to know about them isn't even true. So in this book, Hallie gives these women back their voices, and I am all for that. I think this is going to be a fascinating read, and I've heard really great things about it as well. So those are the 6 books that I plan to read in December. I've already got my tree up waiting to be decorated by the kids later on today, and I'm just really looking forward to Christmas. I hope you are as well. Obviously things are going to be quite different for most of us due to COVID, but I think for me, I'm not religious, but I do celebrate Christmas every year because for me it is a light in the dark part of the year. It's a nice excuse to get together with family and friends and feel a bit lighter and brighter, and I think we all need that at the end of 2020. So if you celebrate Christmas, I hope your preparations are going well. If you don't celebrate Christmas, I do hope you at least get the chance to enjoy the things that come with this time of year, like connecting with your family, even if it's only on Zoom, like eating some really great food and just feeling cozy and hopefully happy and safe. So enjoy your December. I'll be back obviously next week with some festive themed videos, but also at the end of the month to tell you how I got on with these books. What are you reading in December? I would love to know, so drop me a comment below and let's chat books. And until next time, bye. All I know are their names. I've seen their horrible kind of death